Hey everybody, glad to be here with Stephanie. Just really excited to have her on this week for the Bike People of Indy podcast. She's a local mom, entrepreneur, wife, mother. I already said mom, but she's also a manager of a childcare daycare.
Yeah.
But what makes it extra special and relevant to bike people here is that it is done via a cargo bike with 6 children at once. So you have a very unique insight into riding family style, like responsible for kids, crossing streets in an urban setting. So you were basically an immediate person that came to mind that I'd love to interview and just get some insight from what you've experienced over what you just said was 2,000 miles now accomplished on your cargo bike, right?
Yeah, just with the kids.
Yeah, tracked with the bike's meter, right? That's how you track.
Yeah, they've seen more of the city than most adults. So.
Yeah, awesome. Well, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you grew up to ultimately be such a bicyclist.
So I learned to bike when I was young, but I didn't actually experience the freedom of biking until I was an exchange student for a year in the Netherlands, which is like the ultimate bike country of the world. And you really have to see it to believe it, because every train station has they look like parking garages, but it's bikes. It's like levels and levels underground of just bikes. And so being there, having grown up in Brown County, where you needed a car to get anywhere,
right?
And we were 45 minutes from a Walmart. It was just pretty isolating. It was, Brown County's awesome, but then being in the Netherlands and my host parents gifting me my first bike, I just took off. I was like, you mean I can drive myself to sports and I can go out with my friends? And so that was awesome. And to have found a way where I can support my family doing doing my biggest hobby is just, it's been excellent. So
that's great. I had no idea you were from Brown County, which is the opposite of Indy, because I go to Brown County when I want complete solace and to get away from people.
Exactly, I know.
That's like the local escape. So interesting juxtaposition to where you've landed now from where you started. So was that first bicycle a normal two-wheeler, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't, you weren't talking about the big bike.
It wasn't until 3 years ago that I got on a large cargo bike. After, in the Netherlands, they have these, you can Google them, they're preschool bus bikes in the Netherlands. And you'll see these preschool teachers taking hordes of kids in bikes that are twice my size, our size, to and from parks and school, and that's how they do their outings for the day, and or even just how they get to school. They'll pick kids up from their doorstep on bikes to bring them to school. So
a lot more involvement there.
I know, and I was like, how cool would that be if Indiana was like that? And then once I got here, I was like, I could do this.
I love that. That vibes with me because exactly. I love that. I always thought this was just a stop on my ultimate journey, Indy, I'd ultimately wanted to get out to the Pacific Northwest, but when Indy was just too good to me, I couldn't leave. Same with my wife. And I think it was then where I really just had that decision, I want cool stuff here, I've always wanted to get to in the Pacific Northwest. I wanted the Portland party bicycle scene. I wanted everybody on bikes going to work. So that's when I started bike commuting, and then really started the bike party out of some other rides that were happening from others locally.
Became this huge bicycle advocate for the city. It's
it takes people seeing something, being inspired by it, and then just saying, I don't care about what the people around me at my home think of it, I'm just going to go for it. Because like what you're doing is in our society, if you think about it, subversive. It's anti-capitalist. It's anti-gasoline.
Yeah.
You know, you're traveling everywhere, putting thousands of miles on a bike without purchasing gas and participating in that.
It does make me feel really good, especially when I drive past like car lines at school. Whenever I pick up my niece, I just whiz by the car line and I'm on the sidewalk and I just go ring, ring, and she comes right out. And I'm like, all these people like sitting in their idle, like with their cars idling and it smells bad. And I'm just like, fresh air, get to enjoy some peace and quiet on a ride home. It's great.
Right. And eventually some of those folks who have been thinking about riding their bikes with their kids to school, that might have been the nudge they need just to see another woman doing it, and times 6 kids. You know, like I think you're an inspiration. When I first saw you, I was heading north on College Avenue and you were on the Fall Creek Trail crossing the street there. And I saw you with all the children loaded up, and I saw Mapleton Childcare. So I quickly like Instagrammed you, just hoping you'd be on there, and quickly found you. And my immediate thought was like, whoa, she's different. She like sees it. She's pushing, you know, the envelope here as far as like sustainability, forward thinking, education, because like getting these kids outside, that might be the most important thing for a child, is less time indoors.
And they have so much pride in their city, and they'll like make me stop if they like point out like trash, and I'll like get out and grab it, because they're like, who did that to our neighborhood? And
I love that.
Like, you're right. Let me fix that for you. Like, but so it's not just a city that they live in or that their parents live in. They're like, I know these people. I see these dogs every day walking. We have like the same police officer that we always wave to. One of my little girls, when she was potty training, she was like, hey officer, I peed on the potty. And he was like, yeah, go, Chief.
Right, as he should.
So funny.
Awesome.
I was like, the community and the pride in the city it's been life-changing. So.
Awesome. So I'm curious about like the timing. Did the bike and the daycare all start like as a concept, or did you have a daycare first and like, I'm gonna go like outside mode with this?
So we live in a duplex, and our backyard is the size of a postage stamp, like a lot of yards in Indy are. So when having an in-home daycare had always been a dream of mine ever since I'd shadowed an in-home daycare in the Pacific Northwest. And I was like, this is awesome. Anyways, so I was like, okay, so this is like in my 10-year plan. We're going to do this, and we're going to get a bigger house and a big yard. But interest rates being what they are, I was like, no, we're going to be in this house for a really long time. So we need to figure out, how can I get these kids outside 30% of the day, which is always my goal, without being stuck at home. And then, and then I searched for a cargo bike that would fit at least 6 kids with a potential for 7, 8, 9 behind me. And that's where it started. But when I got my first families, like I couldn't afford to just buy the cargo bike outright, because my husband and I were like fresh out of college and newlyweds. And so I told everyone I had ordered it. And so I showed them pictures of it online. I was like, this is the bike that I'm getting, and it's going to be here next month. And everyone's like, oh, that's so cool. And they like signed up and stuff. And then as soon as I got their first deposits, then I bought the bike and had it shipped. So
oh my goodness.
I know, it was like a real like scramble in the beginning, where I was like, okay, I need money to make money. Yeah.
Isn't that the, like what we all have to get over to do what we have to do, is like, you know, fake it till you make it type of thing, for sure. Well, very cool. So I can't imagine the first day, like the first ride, suiting the kids up, snapping all the helmets on. Like,
that was awesome.
Was it nerve-wracking, or had you ridden with children so much? Or?
It was. I was a little nervous because so my very first ride, I only had 2 kids with me. And it was just my son and, another little boy. And they were both right at a year. So you have all these diaper bags and stuff. And if you're just a parent out in public, you have a ginormous backpack that you carry around.
For sure.
So I had them in their 2 bike car seats. And then I had the diapers, and I had a whole sleeve of diapers in there because I was like, nothing is happening that I can't handle with these kids. All right. So, and then we ended up almost by accident biking all the way up to Fort Bend, which was a 12-mile ride one way on the very first day.
Whoops.
And I was like, yeah, it was very exciting. But after that, I was really like, okay, what do we need to bike to actually bike successfully? And it's not very much. So yeah,
nice.
So cut those backpacks out and
like streamlining the gear, right?
Yeah,
sure.
And when I told the parents that we made it to Fort, I was like, yes, we had a lovely 22-mile ride up to Fort Harrison and back. They were like, oh, you weren't kidding, you really are going to take them out every day. And I was like, yes, I am.
Yeah,
good
for you.
This is what I'm going to do.
That's so cool. And are the kids knowing where they're going by now and have their favorite spots and everything? Yeah.
So if we start going north out of our street instead of south, they're like, are we going to, and they'll list off 5 different parks. And then I always tell them it's a surprise because you never know you never know what'll happen on the way or change of plans, change of weather. So I always tell them it's a surprise. That way they never get their hopes up or down. So,
good.
Yeah.
Good plan. Good plan.
Yes.
So you started out with a smaller number of kids and have since grown it, right?
Yeah.
And when did the outdoor childcare certification come along?
That we made that after our first year. So there aren't a ton of requirements for being a nature-based program in the U.S., but the one requirement is that you spend 30% of every day outside above freezing. And we spend 30% of every day outside above 20 degrees. So
yeah, I saw that in the dead of winter. You posted about the struggle for a moment. Every now you're fun to follow because every now and then you post some of the reality, a glimpse behind the curtain. I just can't imagine after suiting up 2 of my kids for snow play, all the gear. I can't imagine 6 of them. And then by the time you get to the last one, the first one's got to pee. And then the last one's already taking his gloves off.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm glad winter is over. I'm always happy that I do it. We always feel better when we're outside. But I've been timing it, and the fastest I can get all 6 kids dressed, including myself, and then buckled into the bike is 45 minutes. And that's if I'm booking it. That's if I have everything laid out ahead of time and no one's missing a glove.
Yeah.
So yes.
You're a very young lady, relatively. How do you manage that when you have expectations to go and take a bike ride and then the morning falls apart just because gear and kids' attitudes and it's just not happening? How do you keep yourself patient?
That is probably, yes, when they're all, one time I noticed a flat tire after I had everyone buckled in and I promised them the park like I always do. And then I noticed the flat tire and we didn't have a spare at home. And I was like, sorry guys, we're staying home today. And that's you have 6 toddlers and you tell them no to a park and it's the worst. It's pretty sad.
Worst news of their entire life.
I start crying, they start crying.
We're all crying.
I know, we're just all crying and they get over it and we'll do something special at home. But that's actually only ever happens 3 times now where things have worked out so poorly in the getting ready process where we can't go out. I have extra snowsuits because kids always they might have an accident.
Yeah.
So, but if all my extras are in the wash and a kid has an accident, what happened 3 weeks ago, then
Yeah, I
and
gotcha.
there's only so much you can do.
Right. Yeah, I asked that because like just to be a normal bicyclist without having kids as part of the picture,
Yeah.
like it's everything is a little extra effort, and then it takes a little bit of patience because things don't always go to plan.
Yeah.
Like the safe route is closed to construction now for the next 3 years, or like whatever the case might be, or the dreaded flat tire will ruin a ride. So just learning to slow down with life in general is like something I think you learn on a bicycle once you ride a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to envision carrying around all these kids and what that might be like. You have to be like completely emotionally aware and like a saint to manage that.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
The kids love it. We have like songs that we go through every morning. So we don't have time to do, most preschools do like circle time, and they go like days of the week, like all of these different things and colors and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I, whenever they're buckled into the bike and they're not squirming around, that's when I take the opportunity to be like, what color's that? What color's this? What color's that? And then we go through ABCs and numbers up to 20. And so I have this whole, I have a, like, it's like a set list, but it's just me singing at the kids for however long we're biking.
Yeah, and they're hammering down their fundamentals while they have a beautiful fresh air
and their
bike trail journey.
Yes, and it's always like look both ways, and all 6 of them are like,
awesome.
And then red means stop and green means go. So if they see a car, cars always creep over
on a
like
right
into
turn.
They always like creep over. And now the kids will be like, red means stop. And they're like doing this halting at the cars. And like the people are usually like, okay,
whoa.
like.
Yeah, sorry.
Like, geez, sorry. And they'll be like, that car was getting too close to our sidewalk.
Typical cyclist.
I know. So I'm like, yes, I'm raising them right.
Yep. Give them whistles to blow at cars.
Yeah. So we have a whole routine with our bike rides that make it a lot easier, and they all know what to expect now, and they love it. So
yeah, great.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. So just having ridden 2,000 miles around town, what is like not necessarily your daycare go-to ride, maybe your daycare go-to ride if that's most of your riding, but like what's your favorite ride like locally?
So we've made a point, like one of my core values for the daycare is to create a sense of pride and ownership in the city, like for these kids. So we'll stop at all of the educational signs that the city has posted around. And whenever we ride up to Newfield's 100 Acres on the canal towpath, they have all these signs. And I've read them so many times that now the kids have favorites.
Yeah.
So if I don't read every one of them every time, but they do have favorites. So they're like, stop, you have to stop and read us that one again. So cool. I think that's been the most special, that like now my kids have like favorite historical signs for the city.
Yeah.
I'm like raising a bunch of nerds.
That's how we should
be.
Yeah. You have to learn history. Very good.
Yeah.
And do you guys ever take like museum visits or things like that, like the State Museum or something like that?
For Christmas, we always do the train rides at the State Museum. They have that Santa train that goes to the exhibits.
That's like a hidden gem at Christmas time is the State Museum.
I love it.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about Sullivan's, which is,
I'm
sure it's wonderful.
It is.
It's like $75 a cart.
It's too hyped up by now.
But State Museum, schools, like school groups, get in for free, and under a certain age, I think, and then chaperones are $10.
Oh, great!
So I pay $10 to have me and my entire small school group ride a train round and round and round as many times as we want.
Yeah, I love it. Very cool.
They love it. They think it's like they think it's just magical. And then I have a membership to the Children's Museum, and whenever I have 3 kids or less, like if everybody's out sick or something, then that's like our special
treat.
Yeah. Special treat. We all go to the Children's Museum.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's super fun.
So these are some really lucky kids, right? You told me earlier you have like a wait list for this. So like as much as I'd like to plug your operation, it sounds like it's a pretty hard thing to get into, given there's only 6 seats, right? Mm-hmm. So do you have a wait list, right?
I do have a wait list, but I am like, like Silva's family, they're huge into biking.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the kind of like, I will make space for your child because you are the type of family I want. Like, yeah. So I have a wait list, only because I'm under what like I can legally have for my ratio.
Right, for sure.
And I always keep it that way because I don't want to have to turn down like I don't know, hidden gym families.
Yeah, I hear you. What I'm hearing is like there might always be space available for serious bike people.
Yeah. For the most part, yes.
Yeah. So that just leads to the next question, like, are there any plans for expansion? If the right someone came and said, Stephanie, I would love to be like the second wagon on the train.
That would be so fun.
Would you be open to that?
I did just hire my first full-time assistant.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
great.
So I am taking on more kids for the summer now because I have, an extra set of hands. We're getting out of the house.
Ups your ratio or whatever you were just saying.
Yeah, and it gets us out of the house like probably at least 25% faster now. So that's been awesome. I've thought about having like a whole nother, like, I just feel like I would have to open, like, I wouldn't be able to do it out of our house anymore. So yeah, in the future, I'm like, if I could have like an actual school or center outside of my house, and then probably 4 employees, and then rotate around who's riding the electric bikes and stuff, that would be incredible. But
I think
I
can see this happening.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, Factory Arts might be a good home base, being like a cycling hub. You could I know there's a kids play cafe.
I feel like this area attracts lots of like hipster families who are
they want to do that kind of
they
life,
want to be involved in their community. And
I mean, if we're hipsters, I'll own that title. That's awesome. So it's amazing to hear there's such a demand. I would just love to see like more of it. So I'm cheerleading your expansion, and let's talk a little bit about the bike, given it's such a special contraption. Thank you for letting me repair it, by the way. That was honestly a cool experience and fun to look at. So
that was awesome. I was so excited that you got me in so quickly, and then I had actually no idea you'd only been open for a month.
And you're like,
Well, I was just like, what the heck? And you did like such a great job, and the place looks awesome. And I was like, it's been a month. I was like, who can get this up and running in a month?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I was really excited to fix your bike. I opened with the only new bikes for sale I had upon opening were children's bikes, Yeomans. So of course I wanted to, support you and what you were doing with Mapleton Childcare. So the bike, I was very surprised to find out that they're made, or at least the company is based out of America. I thought I needed to talk to the company just to get a page info sheet of specs, and was really surprised to see they were in Texas. I had expected I'd be talking to somebody in Dutch or something like that. So,
yeah, exactly.
So tell me how you found the bike and how your experience was working with them. And it seems like that would be a daunting task, just finding the right bike that's going to really last and be able to take a 12-mile out ride.
It was scary. And Bunch Bikes, which is the brand I have, they've not been around a very long time. So, so it was scary taking a jump on them, but everyone was like, customer service is incredible. They have, you can sign up to be a test rider. So any major city around the country will have someone with a Bunch bike that will let you ride it for free. And when we looked at getting like a Furlough or a Urban Arrow or something, first of all, they can only hold 4 kids. And I was like, we need at least room for 6. The closest place to test ride those was Toronto. And I was like, I don't want to go to Toronto. I was like,
yeah.
So yes.
You just,
and,
it was
yeah, and then it was like, this is, and then we found bunch bikes, and it's like, oh, made in Texas, and everything's bigger in Texas. So this was the only bike on the market that could actually hold 6 kids in front of me, which is unheard of. So
yeah. And it's got electric assist. It goes probably pretty fast.
Yeah, I can make it up to 20 if I'm riding by myself with an empty load, but we stick at like 14 easily. So yeah.
I bet 20 on that thing feels fast just because it's like a lot of bike.
Hey, actually, I don't know if you've ever driven like a commercial van or something before, but that's what was our daily driver as a child. That's what I learned to drive in. And I feel like the bigger the vehicle, the slower you feel like you're going.
Okay.
Like I'm on like a smaller, lower bike. I feel like I'm going much faster.
I
so
gotcha. Very cool.
Yes, it's a very sturdy tank.
Yeah. So I meant to ask, is your assistant riding with you too, or does she stay?
She is, and I don't have an electric bike for her, so that's been interesting to figure out because she loves biking, but she's not a daily commuter or anything. So I'm like, okay, it's a really good short ride. It's just 6.5 miles there, 6.5 miles back. Like we have to make it there in 30 minutes, or the kids are gonna fall asleep on the ride. So like, let's go. So that's been interesting. She loves it, but I think she's really tired. She's only been working for like this is her second full week. So yes, she's like, my legs are killing me. I love it, but oh my gosh.
Yeah, we got to talk to Bunch Bikes and get unit.
I know,
unit
get
2.
another. Yes,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's super fun.
So it sounds like you did a little bit of cycling in the Netherlands. Are there any other cycling destinations you've experienced that were formative like that?
Cycling destinations. I've not done any like travel. Like, I know. I feel like a lot of people that come to the shop are like, they do like bike backpacking.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I was just wondering if you and your husband incorporate biking in your vacations.
No, we've only ever done. We will bike on vacation, and I've done like bike anytime I'm in like another country and they give bike tours around the city. I always like go on those because they're awesome.
I've never done one. That's amazing.
What?
Like you just gotta look up bike tour. And
totally have to. Yes.
I've never seen like a sign for one or one advertised. So now I'm gonna do that.
Yes, you have to. They're so
like
fun.
Chicago. I bet they have one. Like they have a tour for everything else there.
I did one in like Barcelona, and that was like it just felt magical because you're just.
So you're in Barcelona. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I guess I have to like. I'm like no. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I just imagine very narrow streets and mopeds everywhere. Is that the vibe, or what was Barcelona like?
Barcelona was it's built as a grid. It's one of the few European cities that's in squares. Grid. Yeah, really? In a perfect grid because of the World War II.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, so it has all this new infrastructure, and you really have to search if you want to find something more than 100 years old in Barcelona.
I didn't know that.
I know, me neither.
I'm not very well traveled.
Yeah, of course you have like the Sagrada Familia, like, and the architecture is gorgeous. But yeah.
Gotcha.
I know. Yeah, it was very surprising. I was like. I think Italy, you would have like the winding streets where you get like run over by mopeds. So.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Just as a rider of Indy and downtown Indy a lot, like where do you see our opportunities to grow more as a bike city, like from an infrastructure or communications outreach standpoint?
I feel like progress is always slow. Just like it's slow getting the roads repaired for potholes and stuff. But I mean, I love the plans coming up. Like Washington Boulevard is getting a protected bike lane. That's my street. So I'm like,
yeah, isn't that like Midtown? Wasn't it kind of contested as like?
Yeah, because people didn't want to give up their street parking because their trucks won't fit in their garages.
Oh, okay. So it's happening though.
It's still happening.
That's good.
Yeah, and I'm because we bike, we always stop at like construction sites and stuff. And I've actually become friends with a couple of the foremen because the kids are just such big fans of them. They're like,
oh yeah, you got to stop at construction.
Yeah. So now like we've actually become friends with a lot of them. And I was like, oh, how are those people who hate you for taking their street parking? And he's like, I'm still doing my job. Like, he's like, they're going to get over it eventually. And this will be good for the city. So yeah.
Awesome.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So, what would you tell other mothers, especially? I think that's like your superpower at this point, is being like a very experienced mother and childcare provider who can ride anywhere on a bicycle with kids. So, what would you tell interested but afraid mothers who would be inspired by you, but are just kind of overwhelmed at the thought of it?
I think so. What I tell people most often is you do not need a cargo bike. You don't need an electric bike. You could we started with a bike seat off of Facebook Marketplace.
Great, yeah.
So I'm like, you really don't need a lot to get started. And then I feel like when people envision like cycling in the city, they're thinking of like morning rush hour or evening rush hour, where everyone's very angry and you're always getting cut off and no one's really like paying attention, I guess. But most likely you're not going to be biking on Keystone or, Fall Creek Parkway, like way out of the city. You're not biking on 465. I was like, everybody's much slower in the city. You have all these residential streets.
That's a key point to me. It's like, think of it like between Central and Alabama and Meridian and College, like a couple of those are bike-friendly streets, but between all those, there are so many smaller residential streets where you can just feel so much safer because residential traffic speed is just lower as a rule, and you'll see, and there's fewer cars, period, on residential streets. So
I never trust Google Maps when I'm looking up like bike paths. They just
I'm rough.
Like, why on earth would I go on that busy street when one street over is this super quiet residential street?
Right.
Yeah, I probably only get passed by cars like maybe twice a day.
Right.
So when I'm out, I don't really see a lot of cars passing me, and if they do, they're going like 10 miles an hour because it's a small street. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you ever utilize alleys or just
sometimes I have these like secret shortcuts where I'm like, I go over Fall Creek and I want to get to Alabama.
Exactly.
Alabama stops. There's like this grass area between 27th Alabama and 26th.
Where it cuts over to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. So
you take the alley behind Smoking Goose.
So I just wiggle behind. Yeah, I go to the alley behind Goose the Market.
I call that Goose Alley. That's like a major bike route right there.
I know. I feel like it.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Is stay off the major streets. Like, it almost kills me sometimes to see like bike commuters on like Binford Boulevard or like even Meridian or College. It's like there's a quiet street 1 block over that you could like save your life on.
Yeah, definitely. It also always I'm always advocating for like bikers and stuff. And I'm like, oh great, like more bikers on the road, and I don't mind going slow because I'm happy they're there. But the bikers who go the wrong way in traffic because they think it's safer to see oncoming traffic, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right. I mean, to each their own. I've seen enough videos of people just getting hit from behind. Like, you know, we're all just kind of winging it here.
I guess so.
I mean, there's statistics to back things up for sure, but yeah, riding on streets is it can be dangerous either way, especially with the cell phone use today.
That's
and everything.
true.
So
yeah,
you got to be careful out there regardless.
You definitely have to be aware of your surroundings and always wave at the car behind you. So it's like, I still see you. Like, thanks for keeping your distance.
So you bike with pretty small children. Did you have trouble finding helmets? That's usually a thing, right? Pretty easy?
No. When they're very small, I have them in this Mila infant seats, and it's made out of like a helmet material, and you can take a baby as small as like 3 months in that thing. With no helmet. The seat is the helmet. The seat is the helmet, and their neck muscles can't support a helmet. I didn't even know that. It would actually be more dangerous to have this extra weight on their head jerking around. Yeah, sure. So for the very small ones, I have them in those seats. Where do you get those? I order them from the Bunch Bike website. Okay. You could order them directly from the Netherlands if you want to. I'm going to get these in stock, yo. Come see me. It's a car seat for little babies whose heads are too small for a helmet. Yes. But yeah, I just sold the smallest helmet I've sold to date yesterday. Really? We've got extra small wombs here. I don't want to be too salesy, but I had trouble finding my children like the tiniest helmets. Yeah. They start like kind of in a 5-year-old, 6-year-old range at most box stores and stuff like that. I do want to plug the shop here. We're trying to be a children's shop. So we've got Woom bikes for little kids, and of course we sell little kids helmets. We sell Woom helmets and Collie helmets. So trying to get those little kids on bikes. For me, it's important not only to just like elevate these kids' quality of life. Like a lot of these kids are city kids. Living in a city as a child is a unique experience compared to how I was raised, I guess. I was raised in more of a suburban setting with more green space, more accommodations for kids, period. So I think getting kids out on bikes in a city environment is like a magical thing to do. And you're empowering them and like setting good lifestyle habits early on. So I think you get this small sense of confidence and independence. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you for what you do. And I think that like we don't even understand the positive impacts that are being made through what you're doing with these kids' lives. Like it's going to pay off in so many ways. Just getting them outside, understanding that bicycles are a viable, most sustainable way of transportation. So thank you again, because it really is like getting the next generation on board. So. Yes. Yeah. Thanks for joining the podcast. So. It's been really cool to talk to you. Thank you for having me. It's been fun. For sure. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.